Jesus wasn't just establishing an earthly kingdom. It was a spiritual kingdom. And then we follow Jesus to the Last Supper, and what does he say to his disciples right before his death? The ultimate expression of his kingdom wasn't an army victory. It was him just laying down his life. And at that dinner, he said to them, this is the blood of my covenant. This is my body, and this is the blood of my covenant, a new covenant, he says in Matthew 26. But in Luke 22:29, it tells a little, and he says that in Luke 22:20, but in Luke 22:29, there's something that I think we miss at that last meal. And he said to them, his disciples, and I confer on you a kingdom, just as my Father conferred a kingdom unto me. The missing piece in a lot of people's faith journey is the beauty of kingdom and kingdom discipleship and a kingdom mindset that is Jesus asking us to steward the kingdom that he started on this earth. And he transferred that kingdom to us. He doesn't say to them, someday you'll get a kingdom or someday I'll be back to give it to you. He transfers the kingdom, righteousness, peace, and joy, and he gives it to them. It is a present reality that he hands to them to steward. And there has been an ongoing progression of his kingdom ever since that day. When we look at things where we believe, oh, Jesus is going to come back in the future and his millennial reign is going to start with armies and a new Jerusalem that just, bam, sets right down in the middle of everything and everything's fixed and made right. We are not in agreement with a scriptural teaching of the kingdom that says it's actually a mustard seed. Right. It starts tiny. How tiny? With a king born in a manger. How small? With no army around him and his followers fleeing from him. How small? With the king of this kingdom giving up his life, being beaten, having a crown put on his head that's actually thorns that's pounded into him, and being beaten until he was unrecognizable. Is this the king that you want to follow? Is this a kingdom that you want to be a part of? Because I know that if you're like me, every one of us in this room wants a king that would rip that crown off, would grab a sword and would just go to town. Right. And yet he's asking us to be a part of a kingdom where we lay down our rights, and we lay down ourselves. And we learn what it looks like, where he says to truly love someone else is to lay down your life for them, even if they're not like you, even if they don't like you. Even if you don't agree with them. Even if they want to come to your church and worship Jesus next to you and you don't think they're doing it right. Even if they have certain viewpoints and beliefs and things that are around them that you don't want anything to do with. That we would say, teach me to love and bless and pray for those people, because this is how my king extends his kingdom. And I wish I could stand up here and tell you that Jesus is coming back and everybody's going to have hell to pay. But in the economy of Jesus, who lays down his life for others, justice to him is not setting everything right and paying back every single thing that was against us or against you or against anyone else, and paying that back to the enemy. The way that he enacts justice is to say, I died on the cross for you just as I died on the cross for them. And I love that son as much as I love this son. And I will get down on my feet before that enemy, and I will wash his feet just like I will get down on the floor before you and wash your feet. Justice to Jesus is that every single person receives what he paid for. And what he paid for was that we would be released and we would experience the grace and the mercy, and we would get to experience a face-to-face reality of a father who says, you are my son, you are my daughter, and you have a home with me. And I'm talking about your enemies. I'm talking about the ones that you hate. I'm talking about the ones that you wouldn't cross the road if they were beaten and in the gutter. And Jesus says, you know what I would do? I would go and I would care for them, and I would kneel before them, and I would love them. And the religious says, yeah, but listen, the only thing that really needs to be consumed by the fire of Jesus' presence is all of our yeah, but. Grace needs to be so unfathomably good that it makes us uncomfortable when we really deeply think about it as the expression of a Savior and a King who would lay down his life instead of bring a conquering army to bear on his enemies.